On the 27th of July, the long-awaited ministerial list of President Bola Tinubu was passed to the Senate, beating the 60 days constitutional deadline for the submission of ministerial list to the National Assembly. Now, among those on the list are the former governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, and 3 other ex-governors or former governors whose names were part of the 28 nominees read by the President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio. Now, the Senate has concluded the screening of these 28 nominees, and many Nigerians are now expecting confirmation anytime the President deems fit. And the Senate has also gotten the new list of the supplementary list of nominees as well, which we'll be talking about. So, National Assembly correspondent Jesu Adeyu has more on this.
Wednesday's plenary took off with an executive session to deliberate on matters of urgent national importance. After the closed session, the Senate suspended other items on its other paper to exhaust and conclude the screening of the first list of ministerial nominees. The nominees responded to questions.
My distinguished senator who has a question did mention his area and the greatest or largest waterfall in West Africa. However, even for domestic tourists, there has to be peace of mind before you can decide to visit. Well, you must be fed adequately. You must have a means of livelihood before tourism. Tourism is tertiary factor of economic development. It's not the primary for a human being.
It is possible for most of our youths out there on the street to be gainfully employed. That's number one. Secondly, it is also important that policies formulated by government should encourage participation by the private sector.
All right, joining us in the studio is a public policy analyst, Femi-Dagunro. It's nice to have you join us this morning.
Good to see you guys.
Good to see
Welcome.
you. Yes, great.
Thank you.
Now, the process of the screening of nominees is on. The Senate is doing what it is doing. Nigerians are watching with keen interest. However, recall the Senate has said that they were going to be thorough. Let me start with the thoroughness of what the Senate is doing. Some people say, well, the issue of taking a bow for some persons and then asking 1 or 2 questions for others, you know, and so on, may not be as thorough as what Nigerians expect when the Senate said they were going to be thorough with the names or with the nominees when they come up for screening. I wonder what you make of the thoroughness anyway. Let me start with that.
Well, you know, you just have to see that there's nothing, I don't know what meaning of thoroughness, you know, it is to them, or what do we understand by being thorough in some of these things. But I see that they don't even allow most of these nominees to answer good questions. And sometimes they shout it down. And sometimes you see that it's like, you know, where are we? You begin to wonder what kind of interview is going on here. I mean, whether you call it screening or whatever, it's like you are interviewing executives to take over positions. And you just say, look, I've seen your CV. You are good because you've been eating and whining and dining with the president. So you can go. I think you are good. I mean, is that the kind of person you want to put as a CEO if you want to, in the private sector? You want to see more, you want to ask more experiences, and what does he have in mind? I see Dele Alake doing well. He analyzed it, and he said some good things. You have seen the takeaways there. Without security, why do you talk about terrorism? I cannot do branding of Nigeria, I mean, not providing security. I cannot do tourism with, he did well, you know. But sometimes some people are just standing up and say, look, this guy is Ajiroba of wherever. We know he has been dining and whining with Ashwaju. Let's let him go. But this guy's got his stuff, and he wanted to answer more. But people don't really ask good questions. Let's put it that way. And that is frustrating, and that's what Nigerians, most people will not put on the TV with their hard-earned money when there's no electricity and just want to watch such a program. You know, so it's becoming boring. And people just say, we know it's just this bow and go thing, and what sense does it make to any Nigeria? But look at this Professor Pate. He even analyzed it. He said, listen, if you don't spend money on health, you'll be making mistakes. And, he gave us a good, analysis of what our health system is all about, the primary health system. You'll be interested in hearing that kind of man and saying what he wants. So now, some, just like he's a governor, we know him, he has done something, I was there when he was doing this, and it's not really thorough. Let's put it that way. It's not thorough. I don't know what, thoroughness mean to these people, but for me personally, and for lots of Nigeria, I think it's not a thorough thing we expect. If you see where we borrow, or we took, or we lend, whatever name you want to call it, in America, you see questions. People want to know. People sit down, and they want to understand it. And you even want your representative, the senator representing your constituency, to speak, to ask questions. Otherwise, why are you there on that day? Why didn't you represent me? So people really want to speak to the candidates or to the nominees. But now we are seeing that, well, it's just this paddy thing of, I know him before, he's my friend, we used to drink coffee together, we play polo together, he's my senior polo colleague. Is that what people want? Let us know. But the fact is this, the ministers are to carry out the decisions or the policies of the government. So that is another issue when they say, look, after all, what is he going to say there? What is he going to do? But it's just to say, look, this is what Mr. President wants, and I'll take it and I'll work with it. But how far can you work with it? And how well can you work with it? You are going to meet people who have been in the ministry for over 20, 30 years. They know the ministry better than you, but do you have the knowledge to supervise them and to make sure that the policies of the government are well carried out? So that is what, you are not going there to set up policies. It is the policies of the government. So the president has the right now to see, look, I see what you have done, and I want to put you in this position. This is your portfolio. And if you don't do well, look at what Ruto is doing in Kenya. He made them to sign, a performance paper. So if you don't do well, I'll take you out. And they were late. And on that day, he told them, you are going to be queried. And I don't want you to put an excuse there that it is traffic. We don't want. We want to serve the people. And if you don't want to serve the people, please get out from now. So people have to know from the day one that we are going in there to serve the people. And it is not as if because I'm a party man, because I work for the party. This thing should not be always the party policies of I am a member of this APC and I've worked tirelessly to make sure that the president was elected. Therefore, it is my own turn now to be the minister. Exactly. And that is not how it should be. And we're turning this thing to be a kindergarten play.
Well, what is the high point of, first, the lineup, by the president in this first stage of screening? What's the high point for you? And people have said we also need these ministers to be able to look the government, to look the president in the eye and be able to give correction, to give guidance, and not just be, a rubber stamp, so to speak, of the president's policies.
You will see that in the past, it has always been, sit down there, 4 years, you get out, or 8 years, if you're lucky, you'll be there. But I believe this President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is not a guy you can just mess around with. He knows what he wanted. He promised the Nigerians what he will do. And we have seen that he's been coming out with such policies, reforms. And I want to sound it once again that it is not an immediate solution. He can provide immediate solutions, but the steps towards making the life of Nigerians better is what is important right now. How many steps and how is he going to achieve these steps? If these ministers are not going to support him to carry out the decisions, the policies, the reforms, then there's a problem. But I think he knows what he's doing, and most people, they know him. They know his antecedent when it comes to working with teams. And these team members, they have to understand him. It doesn't really matter whether you're a governor before now or you're a senator. No, you are working on a new thing, on a new project. This is Project Nigeria. And this Project Nigeria is for 4 years for you. If you can't do it, listen, I assure you, we hear from people and we analyze you and we throw you out. So, but if you are good, you are good. Selecting these people as nominees is a party thing. And even if you don't belong to the party still gives you the opportunity to choose as the president because you have the prerogative. But then the party policy now has to work all over the world. It's always a party thing. It's not just thing that you just have to choose. No, it has to be. And it has to be who are those people who have worked with you? Who are those people you can trust? Who are those people who are your lieutenant? And that is why you see people are saying that, look, he's been working with Dele Alaki for years. He's been working with Edun for years. He's been working with all these guys, even behind the scene. So you can't take that out of policy. and you are politics rather. So politics is about the people who, I mean, you can trust. So if he feels he can trust in his on Wiki, he can trust all these governors, for whatever reason, they've supported him, and they have to continue to support him to achieve success. I don't think they are going there because of their own personal ego or because they want to. I think most of these governors, they have something linked to their names, and they want to do better this time around, even if they make mistakes in their states where they have governed. But I think this is an opportunity for them to do better. And people will now say, okay, look, oh, we didn't know that this guy can do better. Look at what he's doing right now. It's an opportunity for them. And if they can't work out sincerely, transparently, and work hard to make this country a greater place, then they have a problem. And I think President Tinubu has that. He knows that. And you see what is going on around him right now. So he has a lot, and he needs good people. And we are seeing some of these young people, too, who can do something. And he knows those selections. The party policy is number one, and you can't take that out of politics. And that is what we are seeing right now. Even if it's not from APC or PDP, bring people together who can work well and who can do the best for you.
Okay. Well, when we come back, we'll talk about the issue, because when it comes to the New Hope agenda is a total package that Nigerians are looking forward to, getting the benefits of it based on the manifesto that he put forth there. How these people have the capacity to drive it is another thing, but we'll talk about it when we come back from the break. Stay with us on TVC Breakfast. We'll be right back. You're watching TVC Breakfast. On this segment, we're looking at the ministerial nominees. It has been going on. It is one of the big stories in Nigeria right now, because Nigerians have been waiting to see who the names are, who the faces are, and who these people are, where they come from, and so on. And the president has met the constitutional requirement by sending those names to the National Assembly for screening in order to create a cabinet for his government. So that's what we're talking about right now. We have a policy analyst, Femi-Dagunro, in the studio, and he has been helping us make sense of some of these issues. Now, the issue of the word technocrats, in fact, everyone on the street, every average Nigerian now understands that when you mention technocrat, there's something in the head, in the mind somewhere that, oh, these are not politicians. These are people who are very thoroughbred professionals in their own. So if you're bringing them into government, okay, you put them either in health or in education, in finance and all of that, then with them, you can drive government. But some people have said, of course, there are politicians who are, in fact, all the people who are politicians are people who have gone to school, who are professionals in their own respect and so on. But help us make sense here, because the perception or the sentiments Nigerians are sharing that we're seeing are that the moment a former governor is there as a minister, you say, oh, they are recycling governors or National Assembly members and all of that. But these are people who could be thoroughbred technocrats or people who are working for their people and all of that. Speak to us from that window.
Let me tell you, I'll give you a good example. In Germany, Schroeder became the chancellor, and he was a governor. Then he, in quote, brought in another guy to take over from him. When that guy lost the election, he brought him to the federal level, and he made him his chief of staff. And from there, the guy too became a chancellor. I think he probably a president. So this is politics. It's a global issue, right? So it has to be. But the point is, I think Nigerians really, they don't give a hoot whether you're a technocrat or you're a farmer or you are, a baker. As long as you can deliver, they want to see you in action. They don't want to see a minister of work just sitting down in Abuja and is sending some people around in Lagos or in Makurdi or wherever. They want to see you in action. Go there, see what is happening. They want to see a minister of health who will go around, conduct the audits of hospitals and their problems, researches that has to be done, who understands it. That is what Nigeria, they want to see food on their table. Whether you're a technocrat, you're a politician, call it whatever name. All they want is this. Whether you went to Harvard or you went to wherever, they just want you to perform. This is about performance. And if there's no performance level higher as expected, then there's a problem. And that's why I'm saying that from day one, whether you're a technocrat, they're bringing you from America or from London, from wherever, you know you are going to deal with politicians, and you have to have that element of politics in you. You have to be a politician yourself. You can't beat a politician to it when it comes to, but you can formulate policies with them. You better remain your consultants and be wherever you want to be. But the moment you go into politics, you have to deal with the bureaucrats as well. You say you are a technocrat and you have the bureaucrats. You have those people that have been there and they tell you, listen, this is how we do it. But you have to be a team player. You have to understand the politics of making things work. So if you are able to have that emotional intelligence, call it all this intelligence, even kabu-kabu intelligence, and you know what to do, these people will work with you. And it's just the ability to be a leader. They want leaders in all this ministry who will lead the people to do the right thing. Listen, we have a lot of policies, we have a lot of reforms going on, and that will still go on. Who will drive it? Who will summon the people together and say, look, we have a team, we can do it. It's just that we can do it. But now, it's not just we can do it, we must do it because we don't have time on our plates now. So we must do it. If we go with that attitude of we must do it, renewed hope is with a time frame. You cannot renew your hope for your lifetime. Otherwise, there's no hope. So a renewed hope is a time frame. Then when you renew your hope and the hope you are seeing the achievement, then you give thanks. Is that all? So now, Nigerians want to give thanks. Within the next few months, within the next few years, they want to say, thank you, Lord Jesus, or thank you, for making us vote for this guy. We have voted for him, and he's doing something. There must be thanksgiving after I renew hope. So when you renew your hope, and there's no hope to give thanks, then there's a problem. And that is what we are having right
but
now.
in contrast with what you said earlier on about, deliverables, low-hanging fruit, I know you also said something about, there are some reforms that may not be immediate.
Right.
But then you are also saying now that, in line with the renewed hope mantra, as the Nigerians are also, looking forward to, realities, a change of their current, situations, and how you feel, these ministers, when they come on board, can, assist the president in making this happen, really. So I just wanted to kind of balance, what you feel are the low-hanging fruits and what you feel are, systemic reforms that, may come in the long run.
Look at it. Take, for instance, now, the Lagos-Ibadan Express Road. It's an ongoing project. So how long are we going to continue to wait for the completion? Are we going to stop in the middle of it, or we are going to complete it within a time frame? And we say, okay, this has been completed. Let us, first of all, complete the ongoing projects before we go into coming up with new ones. Nigerians want to see things in steps. Finish these products or the projects and begin to go on the next one. So let Nigerians understand it that these projects, we are going to complete them within a time frame. And these are the next projects we are going to embark on. And you follow it up. This project is going to cost us X amount of money, and we are taking the money from wherever, and this is how long. And when we take this money, this is the payment period, and this is the interest. There's nothing wrong in being transparent, making people to understand, because apart from all this, people are thinking these guys are going there to corrupt themselves. Because if you have a situation whereby you visit, whether it's a past governor, and they saw, loads of cars, maybe 20 cars or 10 cars, or what is he doing with all those cars? So people, when they see governors coming in, and they say, oh, is it not an opportunity to even loot the economy again? So that is what is bringing this skepticism. There is no trust in the land, and people want to trust their people. They want to trust their leaders. And sometimes the leaders, some of these leaders, whether the politicians, whether senators or rep or, chairman of local governments and whoever, you see, they distance themselves from the people once they get there. So people are not getting the right information. And until when you take the information to the grassroots, the people are fed up just hearing on the TV. They want to be closer to the people. And when you feel now that you don't need to, what is all this town hall? You do town hall before you have voted, and a lot of them, and now you are not doing town hall meetings again. So information is not really reaching out to the people at the grassroots until we begin to have the grassroots policies that we enable the people to understand what the government is doing. So these ministers, they just don't have to sit down in Abuja. They have to go to their constituencies as well. Whether you are bureaucrats or technocrats, you must be in a party. So how do you reach out to the people if you don't belong to a party? Under what platform? So this is why I'm saying that whatever name you call these people, they must have a party affiliation. And it is on that basis. And now we have to look at it. The parties have policies. And it is the policy of the party the president is going to work on. And working on the party policy is just to say, look, I'm working on what we promised, because you promised based on that party. And it is based on that. So if you are coming from wherever and you don't understand the party manifesto, then you are already a failure. So you have to begin to understand that. So it is not just, you see, Nigerians typically now, they've gone beyond that. The youths are more active in politics now, and they want to see more. Some of them are saying, okay, I didn't know that Bola Tinubu was going to be like this. Okay, maybe next time, maybe we'll watch him for another 1 or 2 years. So if the president can do more on what he promised, look at the way, the police IG said, listen, you can go on your protest, but please make it easy and don't allow it to be hijacked. There's no whipping of people, shooting and stuff like that. So these reforms or this new agenda is coming up gradually. And that is why people say, okay, so these people can protest now, they're not being harassed. Or, I was just watching, and when they pulled down the gates of the national, and nobody has gone there to, so you might see that, look, let's give him some time. Things will be better, but let's begin to tell the people it is not an immediate thing. And that is what people have to understand. But if you tell them it's not an immediate thing, let's bring something that will create a kind of relief for this period while they are bearing with you. I think that's the most important thing. Most people are not quite, it's only the elites most times. The elites who can read and write and, discuss and analyze and edit and whatever, that will be listening to these people. Some of them just say, look, it doesn't matter to me who is the Minister of Finance. Let us just get the right thing. And then the women activists will say, look, we need more women. Okay, I think maybe it would be a good thing even to have a woman central bank governor. We've given a lot of thoughts to all the people, technocrats, bankers, and probably it's a time for us to have a woman central bank governor. Why not? So these are the things that, let's make some changes that will bring good changes to the lifestyle of the people, to the living standard of the people, so that in the nearest future, and that is why, we don't need to go to America or London or Europe to see most of these things. Just see what Ruto is doing, President Ruto of Kenya. He said, look, you can trade with Kenya shillings, and you don't need to have dollars. He said that in a couple of places, and he's promoting it. He said, look, let Africans come, as long as your country is a member of AU, come to Kenya. You don't need visa. That is pragmatism. So if we can do such, and we train our people. You see, the Nigerians, we always think, oh, some section of our people, they do 419, they call it Yahoo Yahoo. You do a lot of all these things, and it's affecting our image. So we have to begin to do some in-house, local educational things now, that we make the youths and the younger ones not to go into that area. Look at what happened in Seychelles recently. Look at what is happening, what happened in Brazil. When those guys went with Ruda, they went to Brazil. And you see, until when we begin to have a kind of, in those days we have national orientation program. Are we going to have that again? So that let's begin to have an orientation that will make people to trust the government, to believe in ourselves, and to make our self-esteem has gone down. Because most people don't have jobs. Most people, their parents cannot even sustain. And now you see what is going on. The NERC, they are coming up with so many things. Other people want to make more money from these same poor people. Most Nigerians are poor. So when you now say the poor of the poorest, so are we going to have the 80% poorest Nigerian before we know the pain where it hurts? And that is why when the president said it, we allow the people to have a breathing space. Let the people breathe.
Let the poor breathe.
Let the poor breathe. So the poor are now saying, look, we are not breathing well, So, and you said we should breathe.
We're all choking.
Yeah, we are choking, And now I said, okay, don't worry. I will supply the oxygen. The oxygen is, okay, where is the oxygen you promised we are going to breathe with? So that is the other way. So it's a big task. It's a big job for the president. And I hope all these ministers understand that clearly, that this is a big task ahead of them. It's not a joking matter.
All right. Understanding that if you pick anyone to become a minister, he's first a Nigerian. So anyone can be a minister. Of course, the Constitution puts that at the prerogative of the president. He can pick any minister from anywhere. But however, Nigerians are gauging and weighing and analyzing some of these things. Now, you talked about the issue of party manifesto earlier. The president, of course, has his own agenda, which is in line with the APC as a political party. He's going there to execute the manifesto and the program of APC So having members of the opposition, like the PDP, Governor Nyesom Wike is there from the PDP, who is a nominee in this party, and having somebody like Adebayo Adelabu of the Accord Party from Oyo State also as a nominee and so on. Do you feel that at some point there could be the issue of working at cross purposes when these people know that they are members of another different political party from the party that the president is?
I don't really see that. You know, I see some of these coalition issues in Germany, you know, where you have Social Democratic Party and the Christian Democratic Union, CDU, SPD. You know, those are the two largest parties. They even come together to, you know, to rule, to govern Germany. And at the end of 4 years, you still go back and campaign under your party. So it shows that we are growing. Even they have coalitions with some junior parties. They call them like FDP. FDP, you know, sometimes they only have 4% or 5% to be able to be in the parliament. Then you have the Green. So I have seen that it works. And where it doesn't work, they go for another election. But this is not coalition. This is an issue that I'm bringing because I think you can do well. And so if you don't do well, I have the right as well to drop you. So it's about understanding. This understanding is what we just need. And it's a good thing for this country that we have this kind of understanding going on. It will make people not to fight against themselves. That look, even if you fight as party members, these guys can just change things at the end of it. So let's begin to have a kind of harmonization. Let's begin to see ourselves as brothers. Let's unite, because this country is not just for PDP or APC or Labour or whatever. This is Nigeria. And until we begin to understand that those people, like you said, they are Nigerians. They have to work for Nigerians. But let them not see themselves as people who are masters. They are servants. Until we begin to see that yourself, when you see civil servants are not civil masters. Until when you begin to see that, when you have that understanding, when you have that orientation, I think these people have to go through this orientation of being leaders, being servants to the people. But where you think you can't be a servant anymore because you're a governor or a past governor or a past minister, then you have no place there. And I think that is what is important for all of us to understand. And those of us that we are the people that puts them there, that voted them there, we have to understand that we should have the opportunity as well to give them the time and correct them when they are going out of their place. So, but where is the opportunity to correct? And that is another thing we have to put in place. There must be an avenue to express our opinions.
All right. A good place to hang it now. Thank you so much, Joe Femi-Dagunro, a public policy analyst. Thank you very much for helping us make sense of some of these issues. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it.